Hello there, City Skylines enthusiasts. My name is Flyvox, and welcome back to Flyvox Talks Cities, the podcast based around our beloved city building simulation, Cities Skylines. This will be episode 3 in the series, and with me tonight, Joy Builds Cities. Hello, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, and I love the number 3, so I love that I'm episode number 3. That's perfect.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Yeah, let us know a few words about yourself, Joy.
Well, my name is Joy. I have a YouTube channel called Joy Builds Cities, and I build cities on YouTube using City Skylines.
Amazing, amazing. The best city building simulation, in my opinion. Let me know, Joy, how did you find the game? How did you first hear about this game that's out there, the city building simulation?
I remember it very clearly. It was in October of 2020, and that was a tough year for everybody. And I was scanning YouTube and I saw this video that happened to be from City Planner Plays. And he was building a farm and it was so detailed and the animals were walking around and he was like putting down trees. And I was like, hold up, this is a game. I could like design spaces. This is phenomenal. And then I got hooked and I binged his stuff, overcharged egg stuff, Biffa. Like I was like the avid watcher. Like I just got sucked right in. And then let's see, that was October. And then in January, I went from watching to actually buying the game and started to play it. So didn't take long.
I can totally relate to that. Also, it's very, very interesting. Almost everyone I talked to about this game started watching on YouTube and just was browsing and found someone, be it Biffa or City Planner Plays, Overcharged Egg for sure, to watch the series and get going with the game in that way. And I was the same actually. So that's also my journey from the YouTubes. Just watching a video, getting all excited, and then binge watching.
Who was the first creator that you stumbled upon?
I watched the first video I've ever watched on City Skylines was actually by a German creator. I don't really recall who it was. I'm not really sure how known they are, but I've just searched the game because actually a coworker told me about this game, and it was not for me. Like city building or simulation games in general was like totally not my genre of games. And I was like hesitant, and he told me about it. He's like, oh, you got to check it out. This is such an amazing game. I've watched it and I'm going to buy it. It's so good. And I'm like, well, okay. I don't know. Because it was like just like not for me at all. And then I was like, okay, let's check it out. And I've watched a video of a German YouTuber, and it was like a basic, very, very basic video. And I was like, not 100% sold on it. I was like, okay, I mean, it is interesting, right? But, nah, I don't know. Okay, maybe I'll watch one more video and then, I'll decide if I like this or not. And I stumbled upon Imperial Jedi's videos, his like first video of the how to start your city from like 7 or 8 years ago now. No, wait, the game is turning 8 years old now. So from 7 years ago. And that instantly got me hooked, like to Imperial Jedi, to his like nature of how he makes videos, and of course then to the game. So yeah, also with
That's so
YouTube.
cool. That's so cool.
I
It's
got
so fun to like hear how everyone like found it. I love that. That's fascinating.
exactly that for me the same. Like it's wild that yeah, almost like everyone you talk to or I've talked to starts, oh yeah, I saw this like one video and then I fell in love with it, and like so
Yeah.
there's definitely a pattern here. Uh
And also as a creator, it's kind of fun to think that maybe your video one day will be the video that like someone stumbles upon and falls in love with the game. I think that's like the full circle moment, right? So that's so cool.
That's so true. Wow, I've never thought of that until now. That is actually very true. It's really possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Well, especially with the beginner series that you have going. That's right up that's like the perfect video.
That's true. That's true. It appeals to a lot of people, I think, and of course, like beginner videos in general, and also the YouTube algorithm in terms of like search, like SEO, like content for beginners in air quotes, like
Yes.
how to start the city, how to start a good city layout. All of these like tips and tricks videos, I think, is very good for the search engine that YouTube is.
Yes, 100%. Agree.
So, what was your first playing experience like, Joy? And is there like anything special that you remember from your first time playing the game?
Well, it was rough. It was really hard because this is something I've talked about a few times with a few other people. So, City Skylines is the first video game I've ever played. And so I don't know gaming lingo. If you watch my videos, you'll be like, oh, she's edge scrolling. I still edge scroll. I didn't even know what that was till someone told me. Like, I'm not, video games is just never something I ever got into. And so I spent 6 months teaching myself how to play this game so that I could like make videos. So it was really difficult. Like I had so much trouble just figuring out how to lay down a row because I wasn't tuned into like controllers and like just how to use the keyboard in that way and how to use a mouse in that way. So
Yeah.
I really struggled. It was not easy, and my first cities will never be seen because that was like, probably like what a 6-year-old would do. I don't know. It was really bad.
I mean, that probably goes for all of us, right? Like my first city, it was a mess. Like it was a mess. I mean, I was playing with basically tutorials on the side, like watching tutorials, and okay, I can do this, and then but I did so much so much wrong in the beginning. I don't know. I think my first attempt was basically just a couple of minutes and I ran out of budget, of course, and so that had to start over.
Right? Yes.
But then
Yep.
like the first big city for me was well I was on PlayStation 4 back in the day because I wasn't on PC yet. I think how long? I think for about like 2 years, 3 years maybe. I've switched to the computer version, to the Steam version of the game, but I had it on PlayStation 4 before that. And I had a city like the one what I would consider my first like real city where I actually knew some things about the game, and that got up to 100,000 residents, and I was kind of proud of that. So that was like a big accomplishment for me.
That's so cool. Yeah. We all got to start somewhere, right?
Exactly, exactly. So Joey, obviously I've checked out your channel, and you're only doing City Skylines videos on YouTube. And
Yes.
so this game was obviously related to you starting your content creation journey. How was that for you? Like you said, you were never into like gaming in general, and how was then all of a sudden the like, okay, I'm going to do a YouTube channel. I'd like to hear more about that.
So the reason that I started my YouTube channel was because I wanted to see another female playing City Skylines. I searched YouTube high and low for female builders. I was watching all of Overcharge Egg and Biffa and City Planner Plays, and I was like, I want to see a female build because just it's a different take, right? And I was so into the aesthetics of the game and just the whole creativity, especially like building parks and just landscaping. And wanted to see that, and I couldn't find it. And I thought, well, if it's not out there, then why not me? Why couldn't I do it? Like I could figure that if everyone else is doing this, I could do this. Like it can't. I knew it was going to be challenging to first teach myself the game and then to teach myself how to make a video because I'd never done that before. But just like everything else, you figure it out. So yeah, I did it because I thought, well, if I can't find anything out there, there must be other females that love watching this game that would also like to watch a female player. So that's why it all started.
That's nice. That's really really cool. How was it for you to getting started with the YouTube channel? Like I obviously know too the struggles that one has with getting up and running, getting a channel up and running, making it look nice and decent, and inviting to people, and like trying to promote your stuff and doing it all the right way. How was that for you? Like the process of learning YouTube in air quotes, if one is ever done with learning YouTube.
No, you're not, for sure. It's like any other thing, in my real job, I'm a project manager, so I'm used to looking at a challenge or an obstacle and figuring it out. So I didn't mind getting in and doing the figuring outing of it all. But it's just you take steps at a time and you make improvements, The first banner you create is just going to be the first banner you create. It's just about looking at your channel and seeing where you can improve, and there's always room for improvement. And I like the challenge of that, as like, what can I do this time to make this better? How can I improve upon this? And just also using every ounce of your YouTube page to communicate to YouTube and to the audience who your channel is for. Is like, what was that I was always in the back of my head, is like who this is for, so that way
Yeah.
I could try to communicate that clearly.
Very nice. Yeah, exactly. You always have to think about, like, yeah, who would want to watch these videos and who are they for? So find your audience and target audience basically, and yeah, the rest with the aesthetics and everything. There's a lot of tutorials that you can do it yourself. You can get free overlays or very very cheap overlays. There's a lot of sites that you can grab those. But once you get your audience and you have your general idea, I think you're pretty good to go, actually.
Yeah, I considered myself lucky because I knew what my channel was going to be about. And I think a lot of people start YouTube just wanting to do YouTube and not really knowing what their focus is. So I do feel like lucky that I kind of knew, oh, I just want to be a City Skylines channel. That's all I want to do. So it kind of helped focus who my audience was then.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like the tip with niche down is definitely, yeah, one of the biggest tips I think for starting a YouTube channel. So that's amazing for you personally if you've already, like, you started with the goal, or not the goal, but started with the premise of, all right, I'm going to be a City Skylines channel. So you already knew like your basic you knew your niche and your basic topic, and you could go on from there. So that's kind of cool. Unlike me, I had to like find it first. So I did a lot of I mean, it was always gaming. I always did gaming, but lots of other stuff too. And just then, I don't know, even like casually, like I was like, oh well, I mean, I can build a city and just like throw it up on YouTube. I've watched a lot of tutorials, so I know there's like not just tutorials but also let's plays, and I was like, okay, I could do one of those. And well, yeah, I mean the TikTok algorithm then in the end pushed me pushed me
Nice.
into the City Skylines niche. Yeah, like a video, a clip of
Shorts. They
yeah.
are so funny.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah, you're always there in the comment section. I see you there. Thank you so much. So yeah, that's like it wasn't my choice per se, but I just went with the flow. Then so TikTok basically just pushed one of my Skylines clips, and a lot of people followed me there for that content. So I had to make a choice if I want to post like high.
Capitalize on that opportunity, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, basically give the audience what they want to see. And we're back to the, like, find your target audience. And so a platform like TikTok did that for me, basically, just by simply pushing one of those videos, and then obviously getting a bunch of followers, and they wanted to see more Skylines content, of course. And so I just kind of decided to niche down on that. And, best decision ever. Because I just love the game so much.
Yeah. And there's so many different, I think in any genre and even in any like specific type of genre, like with City Skylines, there are so many different types of creators in that space. You know, like you said, you have the Let's Play, and then you have the tutorials, and then there's some in between where it's like a combination, and there's so much room in that space. And so I also feel lucky that like what I felt inspired to do, there was actually not an oversaturation on YouTube already. So even
Yeah.
though it's an older game, there's still a good audience for it. And, I think for those of us that have fell in love with the game and fell in love with content creation, or were like you were creating content before, I think we're in a really like little sweet spot on the YouTubes.
Yeah, that's actually a good explanation. Yeah, it's also crazy to me. Like, I mean, the 8th birthday is coming up. City Skylines is going to be 8 years old. It released in 2015, and it's still like so beloved by a lot of people. And you see the bigger channels on YouTube, and they're raking in the views, and people are so interested in the game still. And I think that's so amazing, and it's so much fun, I think.
Yeah, totally. I'm obsessed, and
Same,
I don't
same.
see that going away anytime soon. So
Exactly. So you mentioned earlier that you love like the creativity of the game. Is that something that you enjoy most about it?
actually, I think the thing I love, now that I've been playing it for a while and creating videos, I think the thing that I appreciate most about City Skylines is there's no wrong or right way to do things. It's however you perceive things. And I think that just leads room to so much creativity in the game to either create something that's super realistic or futuristic or just out of your own imagination. And I think that's what I like most about the game is you can use the game to create like a, one for one if you wanted to, or you can create some fantasy land if you wanted to, using stuff from the workshop. So I think the thing that's most enjoyable about the game is the freedom that you have in it.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. That's so true. For City Skylines, I just think it's exactly that. It appeals to a lot of different types of players. You have like the casual player that just like enjoys city building in general. You have like the ultra realistic going to recreate entire cities, creating the assets for it, and just like being micro detailing. And then there's people that just love to do the macro detailing, and everything in between basically. And I think that is so
Oh,
cool that it
still very popular, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So you can do whatever you want.
that is exactly. It's all about the imagination. Like, if you can imagine it, you can probably build it in City Skylines.
For sure. 100%.
So Joy, how do you actually go about starting a city? Like, are you the type of player that does a lot of planning, where what goes where, like from the get-go? Do you check out the map and view all areas? Or do you just like, okay, we'll just start with this map. This map is kind of cool, and we'll just play it by ear and see where it goes.
I'm a planner. So I actually have a notebook and I hand draw my
Oh,
rough plan. So that way I have a drawing in front of me. So I'll check out the map first. I do like to play with 81 tiles. So that way I don't have to start at that start square. I can look at the map and see where I want to start. And then what I'll do is within each episode that I create, or within each neighborhood of a city I build, or within each village or town, I'll draw it out rough on paper first of like where my different zoning is going to be, the road layout, and then I use that as my like visual representation when I go into play. So it's a bit of an analog way to do it, but that's just how I've kind of figured it out from just
that
starting. So it
that's
works for me.
I was about to say, yeah, that what works for you, that's the best probably. Very
Yeah.
interesting, very interesting to draw out physically with a notepad. That's really cool, actually.
Nothing detailed, I'm not a great artist or anything, but it's like a rough like layout essentially. So
Yeah. And that's cool because you have it next to you, you can check for reference, and I think that's really really amazing. It's something I really struggle with, like the planning part, or not, not struggle as much, but still have to, intensify when I actually do city building, when I actually start a new city, the basic areas and maybe basic road layout. That's something that I still need to, yeah, better myself in, which then it makes in the future of that city makes for a better city, in my opinion. Nothing wrong with not planning. Like you can always plan little areas as you go along, which is what I usually do. But yeah, if you really wanna start getting into planning, that's with that notepad. That's draw some sketches. Basic road layout. That's a pretty good idea, I think.
thanks. Yeah. But like I said, it works for me. So
Yeah. So you mentioned the 81 Tiles mod. So are you actually only a modded player, or do you also play vanilla? And if so, which do you prefer?
I prefer playing what I would consider ultra mod light. I like playing as close to vanilla as possible. I actually like a lot of the what people would consider barriers or restrictions with like the game mechanics. It's like it increases my joy in playing the game. Like I really like, I don't mind, playing whack-a-mole until I find the right building. There's something satisfying about that. Um, so yeah, my current series I'm doing right now is called Noob Towns. I'm just using 8 mods and that's it. So yeah, I like to play asset and mod like ultralight is what I would
Okay, yeah, that's actually pretty cool. 8 mods is not a lot. That's not a
No,
lot. Yeah.
yeah, I really like it though. I like the challenge of it too, And of course I get comments of like, "Hey, add this mod." And it's like, "Oh, it's such a great idea," but I don't. It's like I just like to keep it like I said, I do like a lot of the game mechanics in the vanilla version and I like those challenges. So,
Same here actually, and like since I come from the PlayStation 4 of city building, basically, there was no mods on console, of course. So we had 9 tiles and nothing. There was nothing. We had no mods whatsoever, and so I'm. What's funny is I'm still always in that mindset. Like for YouTube, I'm gonna say mostly, not 100%, but mostly do vanilla builds with tips and tricks tutorials mixed in. But for my live streams, I usually have a modded city, and I have a bunch of mods. Some, quality of life mods, some mods that you probably don't even need, but just make it look a bit nicer, in my opinion. And always, even in my modded gameplay, when I'm live streaming and I run into something, a traffic issue or whatever, I I always like it's getting better now, but like I don't know, half a year ago, I would still always try to just deal with any issue vanilla style. And I had all these mods, and then my chat would just get like all like, "Hey, you could use that mod," and I'm like, "Oh, right, I have mods." I kept forgetting that I actually had access to mods, which like basically comes from a couple of years of being bound to the console version of the game. So I had to, you've got to figure out everything without any mods and do everything vanilla style. So I still, I mean, to this day, sometimes still fall into the vanilla mindset and try to fix any issue without using mods. But then, like, I get reminded pretty quickly in my chat that they're like, "Hey, use the mod." I'm like, "All right, okay, yeah." So that's
yeah.
that's kind of interesting to me still, like how you're programmed, how your brain is programmed that way, or mine is at least, to still be in that vanilla mindset. But it's fun for me. I like vanilla gameplay. There's just a bunch of things I dislike about vanilla, but all in all, I do think it's great. Of course, there's some mods that I would now consider like essential, and I would probably use every time I would, like, just for me, start a city. But yeah, I also do enjoy vanilla play.
Yeah. Yeah, so I use 81 tiles, of course, because I like being able to be able to look at the whole map and figure out organically how your city should grow. I really like using the TMPE because I like organization and I like to tell my traffic what to do. So that's I like
I
that.
understand.
Move it, of course, is like have to have that. No explanation there. Find it is like essential for like someone who likes detailing and aesthetics because then you can look for different props. And I actually use a really old mod too. It's just called Crossings. And all it
Crossings.
does is it put a crosswalk because I do pedestrian friendly cities. That's my focus. I like having that so I can just plop a crossing anywhere I need to. And I know there are other mods that have that integrated now, but the old mod still works and it's easy. So that's one that I use. And
Yeah,
then of
why?
course prop line tool, have to have that. And then surface painter and extra landscaping tools. So those are like I know you said five, but those are like those are the 8 mods that I have to have.
Yeah, so that those would be your top mods, right? It's kind of
Yeah,
difficult if we were to condense them down. If I were to say like, what's your top five mods of all time? It's difficult
that'd be
to
hard.
condense these down. Yeah, like for me, I don't know. It's really tough. Like move it, of course, goes without saying. I would also probably say 81 tiles. Node controller is a big one, just for making it look super nice. Network anarchy and yeah, I don't know. Intersection marking tool is pretty sweet, just to make everything look even better. But it's really tough too. If you'd have to choose like five mods, like okay, 5 mods for the rest of your life, the rest have to go. That's tough. It's really tough because there's so much good content, so much good mods and assets on the workshop. To break it down to five. I think that's very difficult.
It's very hard to do.
So what
It's
do you
like
think?
picking your favorite child. You can't do that.
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. Not possible. Not possible.
That's why I just have one dog. It's my favorite. That's it.
And there you go. You planned ahead, right? So
I did. I did.
so what do you think about all the DLCs and CCPs that have been keeping the game interesting? Like, do you have a favorite DLC or CCP? And do you think that those add-ons provide enough value for replayability, like for as we're going, like for console players, for instance, that don't have access to mods?
I think so, definitely. I love the DLCs and the content creator packs. And just like the free updates we get with them too. Like we've gotten so much stuff and I'm still very new to this. I just started in 2021. So I'm still like in this honeymoon phase of the game and there's been so much new stuff that's come out. Like I've had a hard time keeping up with it all. I'm like, "Oh, and there's another new thing. Oh no." So it's it's exciting and I think I know a lot of people talk about a city skylines too. I've even talked about that, but the more and more I think about it, it's like as long as we have these DLCs and content creator packs, I think it's a good way to go for now. I think functionality wise, they're probably going to have to do something at some point, but
Yeah.
I think for now, it's nice to have something new for the game for everyone playing it, but also as creators as well. It's really cool when something new comes out and you can do a new tutorial, you can show off a new thing. And I think it does help keep up that inspiration for on the creator side as well. So
Yeah, I think the same actually, and I love how they're keeping the game fresh with all this extra content. And you mentioned the free update that the game gets with every like release, and I think it's just so amazing. And I was baffled by the last one actually, the financial districts, not by the actual content of the DLC or the mini expansion, but that it was so quickly behind Plazas and Promenades, which I think is one of my top DLCs, because I think the walkable areas, the pedestrian areas from that DLC are super amazing. But then all of a sudden, then they just like cranked out another mini expansion with the financial districts, which, if we like go back to like console gaming or the console version, if you don't have any mods, another opportunity for you to create more diversified cities, more unique looking areas with the extra added content. I think that's so amazing. And I just love that they actually, yeah, keep the game fresh for so long, and always do these little add-ons. As for City Skylines 2, yeah, I don't know. Except for functionality, I wouldn't know. Like, of course, they could probably implement some of the basic mods, or some of the smaller mods, like the prop line tool, for instance, in the base game. Like, in my opinion, like,
Yeah,
just let me draw a row of trees or a row of bushes, like in one like go in one line, and not just
sure.
having to plop every single tree in a line. But other than that, I think, I don't know. Yeah, what else they could implement that, I see a lot of people talking about, oh, better traffic AI, but I'm always like, well, I mean, traffic is kind of on the player. Like,
For sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's I, I see comments that come, like, even on my on my content. Sometimes there's comments, and they're like, "Oh, this game's stupid. The traffic is so silly. You have a 6-lane road, and every car is in one lane." And I'm like, "It's not like I can't reply to these comments. I'm just thinking, like, it's not about how many lanes you put there. If all your traffic
Right.
needs to go into one direction, they will all just use one lane. That's how the game is designed. It's by design, and you can counter that, of course, simply uh, by adding a different like road layout, and not just adding a, oh, we'll upgrade this to a 6-lane road now. That doesn't, and people, some people don't maybe don't want to understand, I don't know. But whenever there's like a discussion of City Skylines 2, I see so many comments about, oh, fix the traffic, better traffic AI. I'm like, it's kind of on the
I
player. So
mean, yeah, for sure. And my focus on my channel is pedestrian friendliness. So I focus a lot on bike networks and walking paths and public transportation. So I've been able to, knock on wood, not have any like huge major traffic issues that have just, those ones where you're like, I quit. I don't know what to do anymore. So
been
luckily,
there.
it does work well if you, and like you said, like road layout and just making sure that you're paying attention to stuff like that, if that's how you like to play the game, and again, that just goes back to like there's no wrong or right. You can do things however you want. So I definitely do agree with you on the plazas and promenades. It was like when that DLC was announced, I had so many people message me because everyone in my like circle of city skyline friends knows that like I'm all about pedestrian friendly cities. That's what I do. And they were like, this DLC is like made for you. And it really is. And I was so excited. I was like, they have reached into my soul and given me almost everything I could want. So I was so excited about that. So yeah, I'm right there with you. It's one of my favorites. So
Yeah, I can imagine, if your focus is to create pedestrian friendly cities and have the focus on walkability, which is probably the number one tip to reduce traffic in your city, like get the citizens off the road, either with a good bike network, or walkability with walking paths, public transportation, then that DLC was made for you.
yeah,
Exactly.
it really was. It really was. I was so excited. I think that was my only gripe with the financial districts is like I was not done like really fully embracing and exploring everything that came with that update, with the content creator packs and with the new DLC. I think if I had one complaint, like from a creator standpoint, it would be nice to have those at least 6 months apart so there's time to create content around that, and then have the new thing, because we kind of went from one right to the other, and so it kind of felt a little crowded. However, I did notice that a lot of creators weren't really feeling the plazas and promenades, and they really were feeling the financial district. So I do think it kind of worked out from a content creation standpoint on YouTube. But yeah, they were a bit close for, just purely from a content creator standpoint. It was like, oh, that's I can't, I just made all these videos. I can't switch around and now make these videos. I need a break. So
That's fair. Yeah, it was super quick. Like I mind blown. Like when I was like, "What? Another one? we just got this one." Let me, yeah, as you said, let me explore this one. Let me do stuff with it, and then we can
right.
move on to the next one, right? But no, it was super super quick. Yeah, I think I have to. I don't know if Pleasant Promenades is probably one of my favorites. I mean, Snowfall, Mass Transit DLC are amazing. Park Life is super cool. There's just so many. There's so many. I don't think I can pick a favorite. They're all
No,
pretty
Park
good.
Life was my first before the plazas and promenades. So that's now second place for sure. That's an
Yeah.
easy second for me.
Nice, nice. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there. A lot of good stuff. We'll see what happens in the future. It's going to be very interesting, I think.
Yeah, I really am excited for I'm excited to as like I still watch City Skylines. I still love watching it and creating videos. I'm excited to see some of these console players and see them use the new tools that they're going to be getting in a couple days, and I'm just excited to watch some of the console players make some new content around all the new stuff that they're getting. So like as a viewer, I'm excited to watch those because I don't have like a console system or anything. So I think that's going to be really fun for those types of creators who maybe do both or one or the other. So I don't know if you have something planned, but I'm excited for whoever does it. I want to watch it. So
True. Nothing planned, but I have thought about going back and hooking up the ye old PlayStation and going back into some old saves on stream and just like checking out what I have done back in the day and what can be done to improve the cities, which probably would be kind of fun with like
make a great video.
yeah, like 2, 3 or more years of experience and how I would fix my own cities, my own console cities.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, that's also something that I really think is mind blowing to me is like what console or vanilla players are able to do with the game or what they come up with in terms of thinking outside the box and using assets that vanilla assets that you can place for like using them for a different purpose than they're actually in the game. And there's like some vanilla players that I just like watch and I'm like, oh my god, this is so good. If I'd never had this and that idea, like it's really really crazy to me how creative some people are with the game, even in vanilla without any mods. And I just think that with all the extra content from the DLCs and the CCPs, like the mid-century modern content creator pack is is amazing. I love these little
oh, cool.
carports. Like the little carports, I use them on like almost every street corner from now on.
Me
I,
too. Me too. Now
I
I'm obsessed with them. Like covered parking for everybody.
exactly. I love those little carports, and they add so much to the game. I think, and yeah, just like, of course, they're fully functional, but also in terms of looks, I think it's really really cool.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. We've gotten so much good stuff recently. We've really been spoiled, and I haven't even had time to explore it all. So it's even if they don't come out with something for another 6 or 8 months, there's no lack of boredom over here because I haven't even got to dive into all those because I'm still like obsessed with the plazas and promenades. So
I get that. Yeah. So, Joey, do you have any memorable moments or achievements from playing the game that you'd like to share?
I think because I had to, I spent 6 months teaching myself the game. I think the first time I properly placed a key, I still remember how excited I got about it because I was like, I finally did it right and it looks good. Because I think it was just all those little things in the beginning, trying to figure out the landscaping tools and how to not create giant holes in the ground. And then so I think the thing that I remember most is just feeling like I finally had like a decent handle on the game so that I could actually start creating content. It was very exciting for me. So
Oh yeah, that for sure. I feel you on that one. I think yeah, getting to know all the mechanics of the game was really fun and memorable for me too. Like, I mean, you watch the tutorials, but it's something completely different in my opinion when you actually try these things out for yourself. So that's a whole other thing. Like for me, it was also quite the experience going into my first modded city, and I was super scared, right? I was like the game itself is or can be kind of overwhelming at the start, right? Even with like vanilla, and you got all these DLCs, so you got that extra content, and then but then you go into like the mods and everything, and I'm lucky that I had some tips from a lot of people along the way about these mods, which mods to get for starters, and just like go slowly work my way into modded gameplay. But like I remember distinctly the first time I used Move It to move a bunch of trees, or just like to copy a patch of trees and place them on a different
happy,
spot.
yeah,
I was like,
mind
wait,
blowing.
you can do that? Oh my god. Like
I can select all this stuff and just delete it. Yeah, this is great.
exactly. I was mind blown. I mean, obviously I've seen modded gameplay before, but experiencing it for the first time, making, intersections or junctions look a bit nicer. It was just like I literally spent hours just playing around with the mods. So that was kind of memorable for me for sure in that moment.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think it's like the early stages of your relationship with this game, I think are the most memorable for me personally. I just remember just finally feeling like, okay, I think I've got this good enough that I could attempt to make a video. Let's give this a go.
Exactly, yeah. So, speaking of challenges, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges for new or even experienced players in the game?
I think, and I'm still like a babe in this whole world of like gaming and creating content and all of that. I think when you first start, like when I did my city of Fairstead, which was the first video I did on camera, and I think it was my fourth city I built in the game. Um, I didn't use the like big interchange that was attached to the highway. I just did like basically I just did a road onto the highway, like something small. And then I built out a little town. I think a lot of times when you see people start cities, they build their big city right there where they start versus like I really appreciate when players think about kind of the growth of the city and how it happens, and like you can start your game with like a little village or town and leave it there and then move to another area of the map where then you're going to be expanding bigger because then you'll have enough money in the bank, you've created some stability, and then you're not trying to completely redevelop that area to be something else, unless you like doing that. That's the thing about City Skylines. There is no wrong or right way. But I think it's just like giving yourself permission to like start small and go slow. Don't feel like you have to like have a downtown right away unless you want to, like I think it's just go slow, I guess would be my my advice. Is like it doesn't have to be everything all at once in the start square.
Oh yeah, 100%. I get that. Yeah, and like you can always go back later, right? If you feel like it's I always cram everything in the starting area. Exactly, take it slow. Take your time, expand however you want to, and as soon as you progress through the game and the milestones and you get more money, you can always go back and change things up. That's also
Develop.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also something that I sometimes I don't know. I guess I kind of forget sometimes. Like you can always go back. I do my areas and then like they're finished. I barely ever go back and do some urban renewal, right? So I barely ever take out houses or roads and it's like, oh, I'm not happy with this design. I've started doing that now. Like I'm getting a bit better at it, I think. For me personal, so that I think, okay, this looks good now. It didn't look good before, but it looks good now. I changed it and it looks good. Like I remember just like, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I just like redid an entire like farming area completely because I just plopped it down with it from the industry's DLC and I just added it and did it nothing, no character to it, had no life in it basically. And I wasn't happy with it. It was just always like this spot in the city where I was like, it's okay. I mean, it's functional, right? But that's all that was. And then I was like, no, this has to. And I just took everything out completely and redid the entire area. And I'm so happy about it now. I'm so pleased with it. And that's something that like I forget sometimes, but I think it's also something that new players can easily overlook or not overlook, but yeah, forget maybe is to like you can always go back. You can always go back into areas that you maybe think you rushed through just to to reach a certain milestone, a population milestone, maybe to earn some more money. But you can always go back as your city grows and progresses and just change it up if you're not 100% satisfied with that area. Of course, if you are satisfied, then don't go and change it. But
Right.
yeah, I think that's also something that can be challenging for new players, especially to have like this. Okay, why does my city not look too good maybe, and then well, you can go back if you don't like areas, go back and change them,
Right.
it's no
Like,
problem.
you don't have to start a whole new city. You can look at your city and be like, okay, what would I do differently? Okay, how can I redevelop this area? Because then you've achieved your milestones, you got your money in the bank, you can really go back and reimagine an area. And that happens in real cities too. Redevelopment happens all the time. So,
Exactly, yeah, exactly. All right, so Joy, can you share some of your secrets to making cities look more beautiful?
first person, get down in your cities. If you have, get down on that first person view if you can, or close in and see how it feels. Does it feel like a place you would want to be? Or does it feel like the place that you're trying to create? That would be my suggestion is things can the overhead city view is good, but I think getting as close down as what it would feel like to live there, and does that feel good? Because for me, at least, that's how I judge an area for myself is like, is this somewhere that feels good to me? Would I want to live here? Would I want to be here? Would I want to walk my dog here? And so by looking at that kind of level of things, you can see, oh, okay. Well, I need a fence to block this because I can see that. Or I definitely need more greenery here. Or I've got way too much greenery. There's no open space. And I think that's another big thing for me that I talk about a lot in my videos is it's okay to have open space. Cities have open space in real life. We all need places to run, throw the frisbee, have a picnic, roll down the hill, go sledding in the winter, right? Like we need those open spaces. And so if you're down on that first person view or close in, you can really kind of feel, where you need to make changes. So that's how I kind of figure out, have I beautified or detailed enough in an area?
Yeah, nice. And it makes a ton of sense, actually. Just go deep dive into the streets and have a look around and see what you may have missed or what you would maybe change around to make it more to your liking. Of course, that's a pretty good tip, I think. That's really, really good, actually.
When I'm done recording and stuff, I will spend probably a silly amount of time like riding around, being certain people, walking around. I love looking at the creation from that point of view of the what I made. So,
And that's pretty good because you get a different point of view, like instead of the above overhead type view that you would usually have when you create the city. Like just go in there and check out the micro details.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Can be very very fun. 100%. Yeah. So Joy, we have been guest builders in the 5B1C collaboration in this third season. And the 5B1Cs, these collaborations, they can be seen as sort of a multiplayer mode. And you have been in a different collaboration as well. And you even ran one of these collaborations. Let us hear more about that, please.
I love collaborating. So, remember I was telling you I started my channel because I wanted to like inspire other female builders to create content. I was kind of creating what I wanted to see. Well, I had finally located some other female builders, and so we had a one season collab that we did called Ladies in the City. It's on my channel if you want to check out the playlist. And it was just really fun collaboration of just female builders making a city together, which was really fun. And that was the collaboration that the three of us ran together. And then I'm in another collaboration called the Skylines 6, where again, it's just 6 builders. We all have very different ways of building, approaching how we see cities. And so we're building together. And then, yes, you and I were in the 5 Builders 1 City, which was so fun, so much fun. That was a blast. That was such an honor for me because I've been watching Zardis for a long time. I remember the first 5 Builders 1 City. And when I saw that, that's when I was like, oh, I need to do the female version of that. So, and then I got the opportunity to be in the global collaboration recently, which was so amazing. So, yeah, I love collaborating with other builders. I love the community of City Skylines. I think it's such, like I said, I'm new to the whole gaming space, but I've heard from other people that the community around this game feels very different than other gaming communities. It's very welcoming and kind and family friendly, and just everyone seems to like help each other and support each other. And I'm just I like working in a group. So I love any kind of opportunity I have to collaborate. I'm all in. Like doing this podcast with you. I think this is so great. So yeah, I like sharing creative ideas and just working with other builders. It's a blast for me. So yeah.
100%. Quickly, before I say anything, can I just say that I love the name Skyline 6? That is a truly amazing name. I think it sounds like a bunch of superheroes, so Skyline 6 is pretty cool. But I
Hey,
also like
I can't take credit for that. I can't take credit for the name. So that was I believe that was Jukaboa on the Skyline 6 team who came out with that name if I remember correct. We brainstormed a bunch of names, which was so fun, and I think we kind of like meshed them together and then we voted, and yeah, that's the one we came up with. So yeah, I like it too. I think it's really a fun name.
it's very, very nice. Yeah, I like. Okay, going into and bouncing off of everything you said, or I'm gonna try to at least. I really like that. I've got to check out that collaboration that you did. The Ladies in the City, was it called?
Yeah, it's called Ladies in the City. Yep.
Really nice. I have to check that out. I haven't seen that yet, so I definitely got to check that out. Also, with the Skyline 6, I think I only saw the trailer for that. I believe there was a trailer, and I've never seen an episode, so I also have to catch up on that. Yeah, but these collabs, I think they're so much fun. And I like me personally, I come from like more of I said in the beginning, like simulation games were not really my thing like back in the day, and I was more of always the like platforming player. Like I like Mario. I grew up with Mario, Nintendo. I love Mario, so naturally I'm still like a big Mario fan. And there's this game, it's called Super Mario Maker, and there's even a second part out, and it's basically where you can create your own Mario levels for the community to play, or for the whole world to play, basically, because you upload them, and then they're online for everyone to play. And there was collaborations, or there are collaborations for that game as well, where different builders come together basically and create and build a level. So and create a
That's
level.
so cool.
Yeah, exactly. And so I had of course I have experience with collaborations such as that. And then yeah, the 5B1C we just talked about that. for the Skylines. It was such an honor when I got asked, when Zardis approached me to be a guest builder, and I was like, in a heartbeat, yeah, I'll I'm in. No further questions asked. I'm in. Just right off the bat. And yeah, it's something about these collaborations that it's just so much fun. You see the different approaches by the different players, and they all come together in one city. It's really really fun to like, when it was my turn, I opened up the save, I loaded the city, and I was like, wow, okay, I'm just gonna look around like for half an
Oh, I
hour
know. I
and just
spent so much time just exploring, even
yeah.
though I'd seen the videos, I was like, oh, well, I didn't see this in the video. That's really cool. It's a different perspective when you get to get into the save and look around. It's so much fun.
Yes, exactly. And that was so amazing to me. And yeah, it's just so much fun. Overall, I think you mentioned the community. I think it's like one of the best communities so far. What I have learned about various communities, you've said that as well. Like, it's welcoming, it's open-minded, it's supportive of others. It's just like one, it feels like one big family, and it's a very very fun community to be in. And I'm very glad that I found the community through the game, and then I found the game in general. So
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I definitely have new friends from it, and just, being able to hang out in different discords, and it's just a lot of fun. Oh, I'll put in a little plug here if I may. So,
Please.
speaking of collaboration, so we actually have a Discord called City of Friends that I'm in with a couple other builders, because running a Discord by yourself can feel very overwhelming. And, if you're working full time and trying to do creation like I am, you don't have time to also like run a Discord. So a bunch of us builders got together, and so we co-run the Discord together. So if anyone wants to come hang out with us, including you, in City of Friends, maybe you can put a link in there for that, because it's fun, because it's a bunch of different builders, and it's like mini Discords within a Discord, basically.
That's awesome. I will definitely link that in the description of this YouTube video. 100%. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Another thing, just quick for clarity, in case there's anyone that I just glossed over the fact that there might be listeners or viewers that don't know about these collaborations. With City Skylines, it's basically a save game pass around between various creators, which can be seen as sort of a multiplayer mode, since you then can just go into that save and see what the previous builder built in that city, and you can then work on your area, basically.
And it's much easier to do if you do it vanilla, which is what we did with Skyline 6. We were like, we're going to do this. This is going to be, so that's a vanilla build. It's a vanilla collaboration, because it just makes things so much easier. I'm sure with the 5 builders, 1 city, um, it's a little tricky when you have a lot of mods and assets, and you kind of got to download the save, and does everything work, especially since we had like a DLC update during that time, I think, too. So I think sometimes that can make things a little bit more tricky. So if you're going to pass around a save among friends, I suggest doing it vanilla, or having a very tight, short, concise list of mods and assets.
Oh yeah, for starters, 100%. Vanilla is probably the way to go. I recall, like, the amount of stuff that also can break just by someone like maybe saving the game for to pass around, and maybe not subscribe to a mod, or maybe to an asset. You would load up the city, and then something would just break, and it's just broken, right? Sometimes irreversibly broken. And so that's the tricky part to getting all of that to work. If you're going to do, like, the 5v1c is heavily modded, and like Zardas does an amazing job with keeping everything together, with keeping everything organized. I don't know if I could do that level of organization that Zardas does with
A
these
lot.
with these
It's a lot.
mods. It's so much, right? Yeah. And luckily, we had, well, there was some issues along the way, but I think overall it went, the season 3, which is still going on. I think my latest guest episode is the last that was released. It was Zarda's turn after me. But yeah, so there's like a bit of a halt in that right now. But I'm guessing I think it's going to resume in time the season 3, and we'll probably finish that off. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's amazing how Zardes keeps that all together. It's really really cool.
I know. And I'll just give a little shout out to your prior guest, to Teddy, because if it wasn't for Teddy, I wouldn't have been able to get in and film my 5B1C episode because I don't play with a lot of mods, and I had a really hard time like with that. So just shout out to Teddy. Thank you so much. Because again, this goes back to how awesome our community is. If someone's having trouble, there's always someone to jump in who knows more than you, who's welcome to hold your hand and walk you through it. Thank goodness. So thank you, Teddy.
Yeah, exactly. Teddy's a pretty good egg, 100%. Does help out a lot if he can. And yeah, shout outs to Teddy for me as well. So, Joy, you mentioned
Oh, wait, we can't break the streak though. I also have to shout out to Toady.
100%. It's becoming
So
like,
Toady was actually a guest in Ladies in the City. So there you go.
oh,
See,
very
there's a real
nice.
connection there. I'm keeping it going for you.
There's the connection. Awesome. Yeah, I was like, for anyone that didn't see the previous episode or the previous 2 episodes, this is the 3rd episode, and this is the 3rd time someone has mentioned Toady YPQ's name. So, very, very talented builder, very talented content creator on
Yeah.
YouTube. As well, and on Twitch and all the social media. Like, she is everywhere, and she cranks out a lot of content. Really, really, really good. And yeah, so this is the 3rd time someone's mentioned Toady. I think I have to make a call. So
Yes. I think you do.
we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, I do like to watch Toadie's stuff as well. So yeah. But Joy, you mentioned you're not playing with a lot of mods, and it was a real struggle for you to like get everything to work in the 5B1C because it was heavily modded. So is that what you struggle like most in the game, or is there maybe anything else like the layout or like traffic in City Skylines? What is it for you?
I think like this kind of goes back to the creation part of it because whenever I'm in the game, I'm creating. And I think the thing that I've learned over time, the thing that I struggled with is I would try to do too much at once because I like playing the game so much. And then you're sitting down with too many hours of footage trying to cram it all into an episode, and that just doesn't work. So the thing that I've had to struggle with is delaying the enjoyment of playing the game to make proper episodes for content creation. So, it's like it's a double-edged sword. So I've got a good handle on it now, but in the beginning I was definitely trying to just do too much at once because I love playing the game, but with limited free time, it's like you do have to make those decisions and those priorities if you're also creating content. You can't just sit down and play the game for 7 hours willy-nilly. You kind of do have to have, okay, this is what this episode's going to be. This is what I'm going to build in this episode. This is what I'm going to do. So it's just about restructuring the thought process around that for me was difficult.
And I fully get that. It's for me, it's like the same. Like I'm always, almost always in this like content creation mindset whenever I boot up the game. It's like I can't even escape it. It's like but in general, I rarely play games simply for myself, just out of enjoyment. Because yeah, with the 9 to 5 and with the family, it's uh there's very little time. there's you wouldn't imagine how little time is left in a day after. Well, yeah, you got your you're done with your job. You had some family time, and there's not much time left. So I rarely play games simply for fun, or rarely play any other games. I mean, there are occasions, of course, but not. Skylines. I'm always thinking about like even when I'm just like okay, I'm gonna just build on a city, and I'm always thinking like, oh wait, I can record this real quick, grab a quick TikTok from that, you know. So I'm always like in this mindset of this like content creation, but it's working for me. It's fun for me. I enjoy playing the game like that. And I mean, of course, I have the live streams, which I sort of do twice a week usually. And we just like do like 2-3 hours of gameplay and chatting and stuff. And it's just, that's just the time where I like, I'm not by myself because I'm live, of course, but it's like for me the time where I can just like really just like play the game and just chat with a few people. So that's what I like to use like the as a not event, maybe event yet to it's weird, sort of escape content creation while I'm creating content. So it's like
Yes, yes,
it's
I get
but
that. I get
it's
that.
yeah, these live streams are just like more chill than having to think about a YouTube episode where I'm like kind of tense at times. I think, okay, this has to be good. This has to be, I have to always think about my editing process afterwards. Like, okay, if I built this, I have to, angle the camera this way so it looks good. And these kind of things, but live streams, you just play the game, and you talk to people. So that's kind of, I mean, there's more to live streaming than that, but
Yes.
don't want to get,
That's a
misquoted on.
job in itself. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. But yeah, it's more like it's more casual for me. Like, I mean, obviously, I use the camera for the live streams, but like the face cam, but not for the YouTube videos. So that's always also something I got to keep in mind. But yeah, I use that as my outlet, basically live streams to
Yeah.
just casually play the game and just talk to people. So that's how I go about that.
Yeah, the whole of content creation for me is my creative outlet, from my job and the regular to-dos. I really enjoy every part of the content creation. I love making thumbnails. I really like editing. I love, selecting the music. I love putting it all together. Like from playing the game all the way through publishing, that whole entire process for me is part of the creative experience, and I enjoy every part of it. And so the whole thing's really enjoyable for me. But yeah, there's very little times I just like get in and play just to play, because
Yeah.
you are kind of trying to juggle, life. So yeah, I get that. Totally.
It is what it is, but yeah, like for me too, it's still just like so much fun, and it's just a hobby. So if I wouldn't have fun doing it, I probably wouldn't do it. But with everyone that I've met so far along this journey, like every new person I meet in the City Skylines like realm, I'm gonna call it, is amazing so far, and is yeah is just really fun to be around and to be with and to talk to and to exchange thoughts and ideas. And yeah, so in general, but I'm also with you. I also love the whole process of content creation. I love, from getting the initial ideas, from thinking about initial ideas, that through sometimes scripting, then to recording, to thumbnail work, editing work, figuring out a title, like if we're going for YouTube, for instance, figuring out a title, coming up with some SEO and everything until, yeah, we hit that publish button, or usually I just schedule my stuff because I like how like a crazy upload. I just upload whenever I can, and then so I just usually go to scheduling the videos to the scheduled date and time. But yeah, all of that is super amazing, and also thinking about the other platforms then for me as well. Like, how can I use this build right here for another platform? Like, can I grab a minute for Twitter? Can I grab a couple of seconds for maybe TikTok or for YouTube Shorts? And it's just a lot of fun still for me. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
Yeah. Like I said, I really appreciate your shorts. If I'm just winding down for the day and kind of scrolling on the phone, yours always pop up and they always give me a good chuckle because you just point out the stuff in the game that we all notice that's just so silly and just funny. And I appreciate that really like your shorts. I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know what you post on there, but your shorts on YouTube, they just kind of focus on like that lighthearted part of the game that we all like, that we can all laugh about. So I appreciate that.
Exactly. Yeah, I try to. I look for these things nowadays. whenever I see
Yeah.
something, I of course I play into that, of course, because I know it can be funny moments. And it's not that I'm like of course I'm pointing things out that might be wrong here and there with the game, but it's in good spirit. Like I never want to bash the game. I
Yes,
always
is a
when
good
when
way to
there's
put it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly when I have something I had that a couple of times where I like in the moment I was like in that moment I'm like, oh my god, look at this, what is happening here? And then like cars just flying around. But then I'm always like, okay, I love this game. It's always like like every game has its little quirks, and
Yes.
it's just like a fun thing. And of course I look for these things and try to play into those
Oh, girl.
so I can grab some some content from that, of course.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So
Oh,
when it
goodness.
comes to City Skylines, Joey, is there anything that you dislike about the game? Like, what is it really that you don't like, if there is anything?
Two things. I don't like the ferry capacity. I live somewhere where there's ferries. It's ridiculous. It doesn't, for the size of that ferry boat, there should be way more than 50 passengers. So I would love, you know how they updated our trams recently? We got all these different types of trams and they look different. We got all these capacities. I want that for ferries. And the second thing is I want Sims to be able to park pike. Can I talk? I want Sims to be able to park their bikes like they do their cars.
Oh, that's very
It'd
nice.
be
Yeah.
so satisfying to like see that. So I don't know if you know who Larry Skylines is, but he designed on the workshop. He has this whole selection that's bicycle parking plazas. Since we got the plazas and promenades DLC, he has this whole collection that's like bicycle parking. So he has like the little bike props. So when you place it, it looks like people like park their bike, because we have these pedestrian areas. If you're riding your bike, if you're going to the store that's on the pedestrian road, you need to be able to park your bike somewhere. So they're great, but they're just, they're assets. I would love to see little Sims hopping off their bikes. It would just be so incredibly satisfying.
Yeah, that is something. That's a good detail, actually. I've never thought about that. And the ferry, yes, exactly. It's a pretty big boat, right? It's a pretty big boat. I don't have a lot of experience. Like I think I've been on a ferry like once in my life. So, but yeah, the number does seem a bit low for the size of the boat. But yeah, the bike parking, that would be really really cool if there could be some functionality in that, like in the game.
Right, right. Because I mean, for me at least, I love just watching public transit in the game. I love watching people move from point A to point B. Just watching the city function and operate is so satisfying. And we have people riding bikes, but you know, and I know we have pocket cars, so there's probably pocket bikes. I get it, but it would be nice to see that kind of functionality in the game for me. But I doubt that anyone else really cares about that. But the fact that I do pedestrians like friendly cities, that's my thing. I would love that.
It would be a really cool detail. Yeah, 100%. For me personally, I don't know. I think maybe some vanilla stuff, like how some vanilla slopes turn out, like when you build houses on hills, you got to be really, really cautious how you zone areas. If the terrain is a bit wonky, either you have to go in with the landscaping tool or you have to be really, really creative with your road placement, like follow the
Yeah.
contour lines of the topography, like the topographical lines, and be aware on which side of the road that you actually zone a house so it looks good. I think that is something that is that can, like, for me it was a real struggle as a new player, and I hated that. I was like, oh my god, this looks so ugh. And I always tried to go back in with landscaping, so with the terraforming tool, and so I took out roads. I tried to make it look better. It so most of the times I think I ended up with like two levels, one super high and one super low, just so I straightened out like an entire mountain. And obviously that was like a area I was not too fond of in the city then, but yeah, that's something that I probably dislike about the game. But other than that, I don't know. It's I think there's not too much that I dislike. I mean, there's people that hate on Chirper. I mean, I love Chirper, so I know how you feel about the little blue bird in the game.
I think at the beginning I was like, why is this on here? I want this to go away. And now that I'm doing my Noobstown city, I've got my little chirper, and so I'm doing each town is focused on one DLC. So I'm gonna like design my chirper to the town I'm in. So I'm actually really loving the little chirper right now. I don't mind it. And if I had to pick any, it would be the flower crown. I love that. So
Oh,
now it's
nice.
now I'm feeling chirper. It's in now one of my good things about the game now.
Perfect. Yeah, I never had issues with Chirper. I also love that people obviously in the city they use that as their social media outlet, of course, and that they would actually sometimes chirp about issues in the city. And as a new player, you could actually see, okay, oh, there's something wrong in the city. Like there's some crazy wild trips going around sometimes, like if you don't have any more capacity for the cemetery, for instance, and then there would be like some chirp about how, how does a dead person smell, hashtag, something, and it's like, oh, right, there was something about the cemeteries and stuff. So they also can help new players, which I think is a nice little touch. And but yeah, so that's that. I do also, I'm kind of fond of Chirper.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
So yeah, Joy, I'm just seeing we've been recording for over an hour. Nice talk so far, I gotta say. So we're about to wrap it up here. So, but I have one more question for you. Are there any quick tips that you could give to new players?
I think what I said earlier is just take your time. There's no rush. And, there's a bulldozer for a reason. Try things out. You're never gonna, cause this isn't a real city. It's fine. Like, if you want to try something and you're worried about it, do a quick save ahead of time. And then if you mess it up, you can always just go back to the save. If you're, like, just take it slow and don't be afraid to mess up, essentially. Don't be afraid to try things. It's the only way, at least for me, I had to teach myself the game and I had to mess up so many times till I got it right. So the other thing I'll say, the other quick tip is YouTube is full of amazing tutorial videos on just about anything you could ever want to know about city skylines. Like that is a big part of how I taught myself to play, was watching, like you said, those video tutorials. So, if you're curious about something, type it into YouTube. You will find it. And that can be like the best way, is to watch someone else do the thing that you're trying to do.
Exactly. I have nothing to add to that. Perfect. Thank you so much for that. So
You're welcome.
that wraps up the third episode of the podcast, Flyvox Talks Cities. Thank you so much to everyone listening and watching the video. Joy, I will obviously link all of your socials in the description of the YouTube video. Where can we find you the best? Is it YouTube?
YouTube's the best. I'm not on any social media platform, not my jam, but yeah, you can find me except for on YouTube, which I don't know, I guess that's social media. I'm on YouTube, and then like I said, I'm in the City of Friends Discord.
So we'll definitely link the YouTube channel and the Discord invitation in the description. Everyone, highly recommend you check out that, and you're in for some good times. So Joy, thank you so much for appearing on the podcast. Really appreciated the talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
It was fun. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening or watching. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe out there. Call your parents. Tell them you love them. Bye-bye.